Hey, what's going on everybody? If you've got a couple questions about aspects like we had, maybe this video will help you out. So let's get into it. So there are currently 3 levels to the aspect system in Diablo 4 that we have seen. And these include your typical legendary aspect, and then you have sacred legendary aspects, and then lastly you have ancestral legendary aspects.
All finished.
So the questions that you might have are, what are the differences between these different aspect levels? So we've got a couple different examples here that are going to show you the differences or the similarities between the different levels of these aspects. So for this example, we want to talk about the Grizzly Rage aspect that we have here. We have all 3 levels or qualities to this aspect, and we're going to show you that they're the exact same. So you can see that the seconds ratio is the same on all 3 qualities or levels of this aspect, as well as the critical strike damage percent. So in short, just because the aspect is a higher level or quality doesn't mean that you can get a higher range for the aspect. And once again, for this aspect of the Stampede one, we have both the legendary and the sacred aspect versions. And you can see once again that the ratios, like the range that you can find this aspect in, is the exact same between legendary and sacred. So that would most likely mean that the ancestral version is the same. So you may be asking yourself now, like, what is the point of ancestral aspects if they are pretty much in the same range as the other 2 versions or qualities? So this is where things get a little bit more interesting, but we're not really sure what kind of aspects fall into this category. So what we have here is aspect of the protector. Now, what makes aspect of the protector unique from all of the other ones we've shown is that it has a base value number. So what this means is if you find an ancestral version of aspect of the protector, you're most likely going to have a much bigger barrier produced after damaging an elite compared to a legendary aspect like we're showing here. But the really cool thing in this example is that we have 2 versions of this aspect, both legendary aspects, and they're different. And that's because it's based on the item power. A couple other things that we want to point out about aspects is if you're taking an aspect off of an amulet or a 2-hand weapon, just be aware that when you actually break it down into an aspect that you can put onto items, that number is going to be lower. And that's because if you're pulling it off a 2-hand, it's going to be doubled. And if you're pulling it off an ami, it's going to be 50% better than when you turn it into an aspect. And on the flip side of that information, if you're putting an aspect that you have onto a 2-hand, it's going to be double the power. And if you're putting it onto an ami, it's going to be 50% better. So we're getting super curious to see how many aspects in Diablo 4 have base value stats that can be dependent on the item power level they come off. Sanctuary awaits, and we're curious to see what we can find, so we hope this video helped you guys just a little bit. If it did, please like the video and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace.